Good evening, everyone. With immense joy and gratitude, I welcome you all to the session 3 of Gullak Dialogue, Every Child a Change Maker. Hi, I'm Shri Banerjee, a third year BA Political Science student at Ferguson College, Pune, and currently a policy advocacy intern at Sarkari School, where I've been working for the past 3 months. Sarkari School is a collective movement dedicated to reimagining public education in India, building bridges between policy, practice, and research to ensure that every child has access to quality learning and opportunities. Today's practitioner panel is held under the inspiring theme Seeding Entrepreneurship Across Government Schools. Together, we will explore practical pathways that help students and educators grow into future entrepreneurs. At this point, I would like to invite my co moderator, Rishika, to take over and guide us further through this dialogue.
Courage, curiosity, and creativity are nurtured early, every classroom can become birthplace of ideas. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rishika Soni, your co-moderator for this session. Before we begin, let's take a moment to understand what Gullak Dialogue is truly about. Gullak Dialogue is an online school entrepreneurship summit designed to strengthen entrepreneurial skills across government schools. Its guiding belief is simple yet powerful. Every child a change maker. The summit brings together educators, practitioners, and students to explore how entrepreneurship can be meaningfully integrated into public school education. It is not just about creating business, it is about building confidence, nurturing problem solving skills, and empowering students to see themselves as active creators of change. Before we move ahead, we would also like to take a moment to acknowledge Abhishek Ranjan sir, public policy analyst and project mentor. His guidance and mentorship have been instrumental in shaping this initiative and in strengthening the bridge between policy and practice. With that, now I would like to hand over to my co-moderator, Shri, to take this session further.
Thank you, Rishika, for such a great introduction of the Gullak dialogue and Abhishek sir. We are deeply honored to be joined today by distinguished practitioners whose journeys embody service, innovation, and a profound commitment to education. We welcome Deepak Sharma sir, trustee of Vedic Dharma Sansthan under the Art of Living Foundation and founder of Himalaya Unnati mission. His life's work in skill development, renewable energy, and sustainable initiatives has illuminated thousands of rural households. We welcome him with immense gratitude for his dedication and compassion. And now, with equal joy, we let us turn to our next speaker, Shoaib sir, founder and CEO of PiJam Foundation. Through his vision, STEM education has been transformed for countless students, empowering them to become problem solvers of tomorrow. We are truly thankful for his leadership and his mission to make learning accessible and impactful. Moving forward, it is our privilege to introduce Pratik Kanodia sir, educator and entrepreneur, founder of Blue Whistle and
So
Standpoint.
Pratik ji, so one second, Pratik ji is just joining. Like he's a few minutes late, right? So you can introduce him later.
All right, all right. Okay, so moving forward, finally, with deep respect and gratitude, we welcome Dr. Dhananjay Pandey, sir, a dedicated public school teacher from Chhattisgarh who has devoted over 3 decades to nurturing creativity and entrepreneurship at the grassroots level. His guidance through science exhibitions, tinkering labs, and hands on learning reflects the true spirit of this summit. We are deeply grateful for his lifelong service to students and communities. We extend our warmest thanks to each of our speakers for being here today and sharing their journeys with us. Now, I would like to pose the guiding questions which will guide the conversations. And moving forward to the first question of this session, what foundational product development and innovation skills should students learn in school to be future ready, and what gaps currently exist in teaching innovation? Over to you, sirs.
Right. So let's begin by my pronouns and welcome to everybody. Please begin by having your sense of the topic each. Right. After that, we can move to the questions. Uh, Deepak ji, would you like to start? Yes.
Yes, my pranams to everyone. It's nice that young kids are moderating the session whom themselves might become entrepreneurs of the future. Yeah. So, see, entrepreneurship, government schools is a very beautiful topic. And I would like to share a point that for an entrepreneur, every problem in the society is a potential tool for entrepreneurship. Every issue you see around you is a gap, and that gap can be filled by entrepreneurship. When we started the rural development programs in Art of Living, the first thing which we started was skill development and entrepreneurship. And our teams used to identify gaps in the societies and used to create entrepreneurs, train youth to become entrepreneurs and fill those gaps. And in turn, have a set of sustainable income in their village or community. I'll give you a small example. Very small, entrepreneurship. You don't have to think very big. Small issues can create big entrepreneurship. So, if you see waste management as an issue in your society, you can become an entrepreneur of waste management. If you see, uh, clean water, providing clean water is an issue in this society, you can become an entrepreneur and provide rainwater harvesting technologies. A small thing like, we village, I remember in 2014, we went to a village and 80% of the youth used to travel out. And we went and asked, what is the problem? And there was one simple problem that वो जो उनका पंप होता है ना, वो सर्विसिंग करने के लिए कोई नहीं होता था. And there was one person in the district, two people, who used to come, I mean, 2 times in a month to service a pump. What we did was we got in touch with a pump agency. We did a 4 days workshop. It was simple. Uska pin change karna hota hai, servicing. We created 3 entrepreneurs. Those 3 entrepreneurs used to service the whole district. And those 3 youth who were supposed to go to Jaipur got a permanent job in a village in Kota and became, now they are entrepreneurships. They have hardware stores, multiple hardware stores. So my point is entrepreneurship is very easy. Identify issues in the society, identify gaps, and become the solution. It is very simple. And that's how you will fill the rural gaps issues. There was a problem of renewable energy. Electricity cannot be dispersed in rural areas, and see how many solar companies have come up. There was a problem of clean drinking water, and see Bisleri and how many companies came up. There was a problem that people were not getting tea, proper tea, when they were traveling, and Wagh Bakri came up with powdered tea. So there is an issue in the society, there is a gap. Find those gaps and become the solution. uh, you know I'll give you another example of a project which we are doing. We are empowering prison inmates to become entrepreneurs in the prison. So we have identified that one of the problems of cloth bags is that it is expensive. 15, 20 rupees people don't want to pay. And then we also found out that in the prisons, people get 120 rupees as their daily wage. It is 120 rupees is skilled labor. Unskilled labor 60 rupees a day in prison. That is the standard. So we said, okay, we will provide cloth and we will create cloth bags in prisons and we will give you 1 rupees per cloth bag. In Gurgaon Bonsi jail, people are making 200 bags a day. They are getting 200 rupees. And the 15 rupees cloth bag, I am able to manufacture at 7 rupees. So I have solved an issue of prisoner rehabilitation. I have solved an issue of cloth bags being cheap. And there are two major issues of a society being solved and becoming entrepreneur. So that is what is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, you don't have to be Elon Musk. Elon Musk identified some issue in the society and became the solution. And then once you get that knack, no, or once you, it's like a chess game. Once you get the moves, then you become a billionaire. Then you become big. Then it becomes a habit. Okay, let me do this. Buy 10 shops. Let me create 100 franchisee. Then all that thing starts. And for that, you need to have financial literacy. You need to have teamwork, then advanced trainings. Everything comes. For an entrepreneur, if you are interested in being a solution, then you start working on further equipping yourself, doing more trainings, becoming more stronger. So for government schools, I will recommend go to villages, go on the grassroots, go on the ground, identify problems and be the solution. That is what I would like to say. For government schools pass outs, that is the best way. Yes, Karanveer ji.
Yes, Sri, you can continue.
I love the way you, sir, the way you gave the examples of the prison entrepreneurship, and it's so easy, so easily you explained what really being an entrepreneur is, and the way you compared it with like a chess game, it was really easy, and I understood the meaning of entrepreneur so easily. Now I would like the other speakers, maybe Dhananjay sir, please can you tell us about what you think about this topic?
नमस्कार। देखिए, जब हम कोई बात करते हैं एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के लिए, और वो भी गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स के लिए, एंड आई एम इन द गवर्नमेंट स्कूल फॉर लास्ट 35 years, एंड आई एम वर्किंग इन दिस फील्ड फ्रॉम द लास्ट 10 years। तो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स का आपको एक टेस्ट समझना होगा। बगैर टेस्ट समझे कुछ नहीं हो सकता है। एंड व्हाट इज द टेस्ट? टेस्ट यह है कि सभी वक्त दिस इज द गवर्नमेंट स्कूल एंड द बॉयज आर, द गर्ल्स आर, यस, ठीक है। जहां हम दूसरे से कंपैरिजन करना शुरू करते हैं, हमारी क्रिएटिविटी लॉस्ट हो जाती है। तो उस सबसे पहले आपको ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग की बात करना पड़ेगा। भूखे भजन होत न गोपाला। मैं अपना एग्जांपल लेता हूं। हमारे एग्जांपल्स में मेरे बच्चे जो फर्स्ट बैच के थे, 2016, 17, 17, 18, ऐसे बच्चे जो कुछ समझ नहीं पाते थे कि क्या चीज है क्या चीज नहीं है। आप एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, स्टार्टअप्स, क्रिएटिविटी ये सब छोड़ दीजिए। गांव के बच्चे बेसिक चीज नहीं जानते थे। उन बच्चों पे जब तक आप ट्रस्ट पैदा नहीं करेंगे और ये नहीं बताएंगे that if the problem is unique, then the solution will be unique, है ना? तो यूनिकनेस ढूंढना पड़ता है। अब उन बच्चों को ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग किया गया है। ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग करने के बाद हाँ चल बेटा, कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि आप उनको बहुत बड़ी बड़ी वादे करें, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी चीजें करें, कोई जरूरी नहीं है। उनके जो छोटे छोटे माइनर चीजें हैं उसको पकड़िए और उनको बोले कि यस आई एम विथ यू। और उसके बाद ये समझिए कि जिसके पास कुछ स्ट्रगल होता है वो बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम को देखते हैं। अगर मेरा पेट भरा होगा तो मैं प्रॉब्लम्स को नहीं देखूंगा, मेरा सब चेहरा है। ऐसे ही 2060 में जब स्टार्ट किया तो वो बच्चे ही बताए कि सर हम आते हैं स्कूल में तो शमशान घाट पड़ता है। देखिए, सोच देखिए, ये सोच केवल ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में आ सकती है। सर शमशान घाट पड़ता है, राख नदी में जाती है और हम नदी को क्रॉस करके आते हैं, हमारे पैर में छाले हो जाती हैं, ठीक है। उसके बाद अब आप बताइए, 15 साल के लड़के, 16 साल के लड़के को क्या शमशान घाट जाना चाहिए? अब ये शमशान घाट में 15-15 घंटे, 16-16 घंटे बिताते थे। कोई डेड बॉडीज आती थी तो ये बोलते थे कि हाँ ठीक है, अब हम रिसर्च कर रहे हैं। और हालांकि हमारे लिए था कि जो डेड बॉडीज आती थी तो उनके लिए एक पीड़ा का समय होता था, लेकिन हमारे लिए होता कि उनको मैटर मिल रहा है। और उसके बाद ये बच्चे एक प्रॉब्लम, यूनिक प्रॉब्लम खोजे कि डेड बॉडी ऐश के कारण रिवर कंटेमिनेट हो रहा है और प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट कर रहा है। तब उसी में से एक लड़का बोला कि जो उसके फादर, देखिए उसके फादर गुजर गए थे ड्यू टू कार्सिनोमा, और उसकी मदर थी घर में मेड के काम करती थी। तो उन्हें बोला कि सर क्या इस ऐश को हम एक वैल्यूबल प्रोडक्ट में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं। प्रॉब्लम यहाँ से आया, सॉल्यूशन यहाँ से आया। और 8-9 मंथ्स के करने के बाद ये लड़के दुबई में इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट किया एंड वेर द फर्स्ट इन द वर्ल्ड। और ये प्रोडक्ट ये नाउ पेटेंट हो गया है। और ये ग्रुप के जो 4 लड़के थे आगे काम करना शुरू किए, और 4 काम करने के बाद आज उनके पिछले महीने का टर्नओवर था 4,32,000। और उनकी एज क्या है? 22 ईयर्स, 23 ईयर्स। ठीक है। तो कहने का मतलब यह है कि जब तक उन बच्चों में आप ट्रस्ट पैदा नहीं करेंगे, उन बच्चों में आप ये नहीं बोलेंगे यस यू कैन डू इट, क्योंकि वो बच्चे तो ऐसे हैं कि उनको अगर कोई प्रेम से बात कर दिया, और आपको जानकर खुशी होगी कि ये जो स्कूल है इनोवेशन अडल्ट टिंकरिंग लैब गवर्नमेंट मल्टीपर्पज हायर सेकेंडरी स्कूल, ये नीति आयोग द्वारा द बेस्ट स्कूल्स इन द एरिया ऑफ टिंकरिंग घोषित किया गया। और यही बच्चे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के एकमात्र बच्चे थे जो G20 में भाग लिए, और उन्होंने अपने इनोवेशन, और एक इनोवेशन नहीं है, सीरीज ऑफ इनोवेशन हैं जो G20 में अपने इनोवेशन के बारे में बताएं, एंड दैट टू इन हिंदी, है ना। तो मेरा पहला चीज होगा, आप ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग करें, और उनके छोटी छोटी आवश्यकता को, बहुत बड़ी आवश्यकता नहीं, छोटी छोटी आवश्यकता को पूरी करें। और आवश्यकता जैसे पूरी होगी, आप उनसे फ्रेंडली हो गए, आपका 50% काम खत्म हो गया एज बीइंग एज ए टीचर। मैं पूरी बातें कर रहा हूं बीइंग एज ए टीचर। तो एज ए टीचर का काम है आप सामने आए, उन बच्चों को बैकअप करें, उनकी मेंटलिटी समझें, उनके परिवार से मिलें, आपका काम खत्म हो जाएगा और इनोवेशन शुरू हो जाएगा। इनको बताइए कि आउट ऑफ बॉक्स थिंकिंग कैसे करना है और कैसे हमको आगे बढ़ना है। इमेंस पोटेंशियल है। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views. It is really important to build the trust among these students. And now I would like to invite Shoaib sir to share his views about the topic.
Thank you so much, Shreya, for inviting me on such an important theme that is also very, very close to us. I want to first start by thanking Deepak ji for rooting the whole discussion around the idea of problem solving, because that's where it all starts. So thank you, Deepak ji, for sharing some wonderful example of how it's not complicated. It all starts from observation and understanding what is around us. And also Dhananjay ji from sharing this idea of how we need to trust kids with the process, right? So I think these are very, very two important pillars, and thankfully for me, they have been covered already as part of the conversation. So we also at PiJam fundamentally believe that kids need to learn to solve problems from a very, very young age. And once this mindset of observing problems and not looking at problems as something that is bad, not staying away from problems, right? Um, Trying to explore the process of once I look at a problem, right? There is so much to learn from it. So this is fundamentally what we try and do, and also how do you democratize this for as many students, as many teachers as possible. Um, for us, we believe that जो माहौल है, right, that enables this is extremely important, right? So this cannot be about just one technology or tool that you teach kids. This cannot be about just one curriculum that you try and teach kids, even though those are important and have been and I'm very glad to see that a lot of thrust on ensuring um, uh, emphasis on project-based learning, problem solving. It has started to spread across our country, and I think that's important. But what's equally important is to ensure we create that environment, that mahul for students to thrive. Um, Something as simple as empathy, right? We are all born with it. We as humans have this ingrained in us. But do we look at empathy as a skill? Do we look at our observations as something that can give us so much information just by going around, right? If one deeply observes, you might find so much information. You might even see problems from a very different perspective, which is absolutely important. First, seeing problems as opportunities um, is something that we need to trust our young learners with. And there are enough scenarios outside where one can add value to somebody else. So the seed of entrepreneurship, I believe, starts with observation and identifying problems and cultivating empathy as a skill, because once you understand what is it that the other person is feeling, seeing, observing, and what would add value to them, most likely will result in a solution that is beneficial to somebody. If it is beneficial to somebody, there is going to be demand. um, so that is one aspect of it. The only other thing I would like to add is, and I think Dhananjay ji touched upon it, right? It doesn't need to be something fantastical or something big. I think that is actually a detriment, right? Because kids try to compare uh, with others, with their peers, when they see what's happening. Let's say a child has built a really great innovation, right, which may not happen in every case, and they receive a lot of accolades. Now kids naturally try and think हमें कुछ innovative करना है, right? हमें कुछ, we have to do something very different, but that's not the case. In most cases, it's not about thinking different, but thinking deeply. So how do we ensure that the process of identifying problems is rewarded, not the end product? I think that is when this will be transformational. How does our assessment system, right, the way we gauge, mark students, how does that start valuing this problem of discovery? How do we also reward failure? I think we have come a long way, ensuring we grade students in a nice table and a grid. We really need to also rethink now how do we reward failure as well, because that is such an important trait of an entrepreneur and a problem solver, because every entrepreneur is going to see hundreds of failures along their way, right? Yeah, so I think that's something I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Shoaib sir, and thank you for identifying empathy as a skill required in the process of entrepreneurship. Now, I would like Karan to introduce Pratik sir.
Yes, Pratik ji is on the call. He was a little late, and Pratik ji works in EdTech for student leadership through Blue Whistle. Right. I would like Pratik ji to introduce himself and then give his insights on this topic as well. Pratik ji, over to you. You are on mute, Pratik ji.
Sorry. I'm introducing myself or also giving my first thought.
Right.
The question. Okay, I'll go ahead. Um, hello everybody. Would like to start with gratitude to Karanveer ji and Gullak and India House for having me here on this beautiful and very specifically curated topic and panel. Um, I am the founder of a company I call Blue Whistle, and Blue Whistle works in the space of making politics, policy, governance, citizenship, leadership, all of that more accessible and available to students in middle school, um, so that they grow up to become wonderful citizens, lead their country, because a democracy is worthless if you don't have citizens that are actually aware, or enough citizens that are aware of what's happening around them. We do this through gamification of curriculums. We primarily work in the space of social sciences. So our products are called Social Plus. We're the only company in India to have developed a simulation of the Parliament of India. And all of these products are live in the market or are going live right now. We've completed a couple of pilot programs. We've worked with about 5 schools with the first product and about 40 plus schools on the other. And with that vision, Blue Whistle has been created, that students grow up aware, alert, and thinking citizens. That is the fundamental idea. Karanveer, what is the next step for me? Do I go ahead and also like share some thoughts on a subject that I have in mind?
Right. You may give your opening remarks. After that, we can move to the questions.
Right, right. Thank you. Um, so to whoever is viewing now and they're going to view later, I think one of the things I heard from my previous uh, panelist is that is the need for empathy, and I think that is so importantly said. So I would want to start out with re-emphasizing and recalling the need for empathy, because empathy, I think, is a very, very, very strong value to have. It makes an individual a strong human being, because the ability to empathize is not very easy, and also to act on that empathy is even harder. So, empathy is at the core of everything. If you're an engineer and you're not empathetic, then you cannot design solutions that work in a society as vibrant as India. If you're even if you're doing like UI UX, you need to be empathetic towards the user who's going to use what you've designed. Empathy is at the core of everything, also at the core of policy, governance, leadership, etc. After re-emphasizing that, one important thing that I want to bring up, and I'll try to put it as simply as possible, is that we in our system require, or always have required, it's not a new thing, which is the coupling of instruction with experience. And the system allows for STEM subjects to be delivered that way to a certain extent, which is instruction plus experience through like a physics lab or a chemistry lab. But for very contextual subjects like social science, and when I say contextual, I mean a subject that provides context to all other subjects. For instance, if you are if you want to build like a rocket and send it to the space so that it can monitor weather patterns and predict them so that we can be better at disaster management, you cannot do that without understanding geography, without understanding policies, without understanding the nature of people, how they behave, what is their thinking, what is the habitat in which they operate, all of that. Having that knowledge contextualizes the solutions you're going to provide to the society as whatever professional. It could be STEM, it could be legal, it could be whatever. um, those solutions are informed by the context that social science as a subject provides. Ideally, um, in our current reality, that is not happening, which is why Blue Whistle is an idea that we worked on and created. Um, Now, when we go back to the instruction plus experience coupling and we apply that to social sciences, we see that the experience is non existent. And we are faced with a question that how do you really make a subject like social science experiential? Like, how do you do it? It's easy to make a math class experiential. It's easier even to make a physics or a chemistry class experiential, but it is very difficult to make a social science class experiential. The next point that I want to come to, Karan, please feel free to like unmute and let me know when my time is up, because I don't know how long I'm doing this for.
Right.
And
Can you take care of that?
sorry.
Yes, Shri is the one. Shri, are you keeping time for it?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm keeping time.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yes.
I will conclude in like a minute or so. The
Yes.
second thing that I want to very importantly emphasize is the confusion between activities and games. Now I want to couple this with a third thing, which I'm going to be talking about in context, is the need to create curiosity in children. It's false. Children at that age are curious by nature. One, they are fun filled. They're fun attracting by nature. They attract fun towards them. They are fun filled by nature. No system, no pedagogy, nothing needs to induce fun and curiosity into a child. All we need to do is leverage what already exists. So coming back to the second point, activities in our system or are in our most common methods of teaching are used as monotony breakers. ठीक है, we had a very long session. So let's break it with some kind of an activity. Let's do a quiz today. And there's no vilification of anybody. That's a novel idea. It should be done. You can use many monotony breakers. You can use humor. You can use activities and so many things. But activities are not enough because activities are not pedagogy. Activities are monotony breakers. They help distract the child from a monotonous, jar or bucket of instruction. And then they come back to it and the children feel like alive. So the the ability to create that difference that hey, this is activity and this is a game can be used as a pedagogy, a full blown game, a game which involves negotiation, conversations, talking, like writing, drawing, speaking about something, reflecting, negotiating with somebody else, a game that pulls the player inside it. Like, I don't know if anybody watching this right now is a gamer, but if somebody else finds this later, games like, Assassin's Creed or Dark Souls, Demon Souls, um, Elden Ring, role playing games like that. There's Ghosts of Yotei now. These games are so well researched. The latest Assassin's Creed was on like Japan, and it had the most amazing history of Japan. And you could understand what the shogunate is and how they function, what was the feudal system and stuff like that. Now, that game pulls the player inside and really churns their mind. That is the that is one way in which, not the way, but one way in which social science can become instruction plus experience. You can have experience in the classroom where teachers, and we've done it. We've done this, we've validated our ideas, teachers are happy, students are happy. And our greatest milestone is that the teachers, social science teachers who've played Blue Whistle games in the classroom, don't see it as a co curricular activity. Teachers, social science teachers have adopted it as a part of their curriculum. With that, I think I want to stop and lead it over to Ms. Shri.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pratik. Thank you so much. Sorry. Thank you so much, Pratik sir, for explaining all of it. And you explained the coupling of instructions with experience very easily. I extend my warmest thanks to each of the speakers for being here today and sharing their journeys with us. I will invite them to share their insights. They may respond in whichever order they prefer, and I will pose guiding questions to spark the dialogue. So, my first question for all of my speakers are: what foundational product development and innovation skills should students learn in school to be future ready, and what gaps currently exist in teaching innovation? Over to you, sirs. I
Can you repeat your question once?
Yeah, sure. What foundational product development and innovation skills should students learn in school to be future ready, and what gaps currently exist in teaching innovation?
I think
It looks,
Pratik will be
yeah.
very, apt to answer this question because the kind of technology, the use of technology, because you talked about in school, but I also feel real entrepreneurship is outside as an experience. So, in school, I think Pratik will be the best person to answer this, I feel. And Shoaib ji, because, in school, uh, yeah.
Deepak ji, my pranams to you. I remember meeting you at AOL, I think a month or something ago.
Yes,
So
yes.
yes, namaskaram. Uh, if I can like just take a quick 2 minutes and explore what my mind has on this particular subject. Um, One, I don't think entrepreneurship can be taught in schools. You can create opportunities for students to explore their entrepreneurial mind and hone that skill. So, as educators, there's this beautiful Japanese author, Masanobu Fukuoka, and he says this in the context of agriculture. You know, when you're like planting seeds, the most important thing you have to do as a person who has planted that seed is to stay away, is to keep yourself out of it, because the sunlight is coming, the water is there, and the soil is giving the nutrition. The plant will grow by itself. The most important thing you have to do is excuse yourself from being an impediment to the growth of that plant. Similarly, we as product developers, creators, etc., should try to only create opportunities where children can exercise agency. Those creation of that opportunity is important. Second, in terms of product teaching product development to children, no, you can't teach product development to children in schools, but what you can do is develop holistic thinking. Because when you develop a product, you have to think about everything, a life cycle of a product from zero to back to zero, and the service part of it. So you can teach holistic thinking and then slowly take it above and give them opportunities to maybe create a product themselves, try to see how sales looks like, etc., etc., etc. Third thing is complementing that with respect to skills has to be systems. Students today have, I cannot emphasize this enough. They have to learn how to build systems, because without systems, no innovation can scale. Because without systems, an innovation is dependent on the creator. And unless a creator can excuse himself or herself, and I know only two genders, they can excuse themselves and then say that, you know, um, yeah, that the system will function, and because of that framework, the ideas will be taken forward. That I think is a very key skill. And I think with that said, I would love for others to pitch in.
No, you talked about AI. I feel, see, uh, a school, a classroom is a controlled environment, and entrepreneurship is not about that. But yes, in terms of incubation for a certain period, it helps. But I feel that an entrepreneurship should be AI driven. And I mean, AI is not artificial intelligence. I'm talking about absolute intelligence. The intuition skills is what creates entrepreneurship. The gut feeling, the confidence, the thing that yes, it will happen. That ability to take risk, the ability to have confidence in yourself, that is something which no book can teach you. That is something which you learn from life. You learn from mentors, you learn from yourself. If you meditate, that's why we say absolute intelligence, because if you meditate and if you have a calm and peaceful mind, the intuition ability becomes so strong, and that is what people call good luck. So I think meditation, being calm, being stress free, is a very important aspect of entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Pratik sir and Deepak sir, for your insights. I would like to invite Dhananjay sir to please give his views on this question.
देखिए मैडम, ये सब जो बातें हो रही हैं, यस बहुत अच्छी है, बातें हैं और इसमें कोई बात नहीं है, लेकिन मेरा जो एक्सपीरियंस है कुछ अलग होता है। देखिए क्लास में केवल जो टीचर्स होते हैं, क्योंकि मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बातें कर रहा हूँ, 35 ईयर्स के एक्सपीरियंस में मैंने ये जाना है कि केवल टीचर्स जो हैं वो क्लास ले करके अपनी ड्यूटी निभाते हैं, नॉट बियॉन्ड दैट। अगर हम इस बच्चे को ये समझा दें कि व्हाट योर एनवायरमेंट डिमांड्स, आपकी सोसाइटी क्या डिमांड कर रही है, और इस बच्चे को अगर ये समझा दें कि आप बेटा अपने एक्सपीरियंस को आगे लाइए, आपका समाज में क्योंकि समाज से ज्यादा टच अप वही होता है। अगर वो चीज अगर आप केवल क्लास में अगर बच्चों को समझा दें तो आपका 50 से 70% काम खत्म हो जाता है। मैं एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ। छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ। हम लोग, एक हमारा स्टूडेंट है, मनीष नाम का है, वो मेरे को आके एक दिन बोला कि सर हमारे स्कूल, देखिए बात कितनी छोटी है लेकिन कितनी गहरी है, कि सर हमारे स्कूल में जितने डिजेबल्ड बच्चे हैं वो 2 साल रहते हैं, 3 साल के बाद निकल जाते हैं, ड्रॉप आउट्स हो जाते हैं। बात आई कि ये बहुत अच्छी बात है। फिर इसी आइडिया को लेकर मैं क्या बोला कि अपनी समाज को समझो। क्लास में अगर हम ये बता दें कि आप अपने आप को समझो, अपने समाज को समझो, आपके बहुत से प्रॉब्लम दूर हो जाएंगे। ये बात को किया और उसने बोला कि सर हमारे क्लास में एक बच्चा था, 2 साल था, 2 साल बाद चल गया। जब हम और इसके रिसर्च किए तो हम 136 स्कूल्स को लिए अपने रिसर्च में, और वहां पर रिसर्च किया तो हमको मैक्सिमम बातें क्या समझ में आई कि बच्चे ड्रॉप आउट इसलिए हो रहे हैं क्योंकि उनके नेचर कॉल्स का एड्रेस नहीं किया जा रहा है। और वो ऐसे बच्चे जो दिव्यांग बच्चे हैं, वो शायद महसूस करते थे कि अपने टीचर्स को, अपने पेरेंट, अपने मेट्स को, कि हमको आपकी हेल्प चाहिए। ये शाइनेस था कि हम कितने बार बोले, एक टीचर अगर हमको नेचर कॉल्स आ रहे हैं तो हम कितने बार बात करें। उन्होंने इस एनवायरमेंट को समझा, अपनी सोसाइटी को समझा और अपने आप को समझा, जो कि क्लास में बताया कि अपने अपने को समझो, अपने एनवायरमेंट को समझो। उसके बाद उन्होंने एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया जिसको पीएम साहब ने अपने घर बुला करके उसको किया, और आपको जो लॉर्ड डेजो सिस्टम है उसने अपने हर कर्मचारी को उस लड़के की सक्सेस स्टोरी बताई। और वो लड़का झुग्गी में रहने वाला लड़का है। तो सब बात अच्छी है, बट अगर हम ग्रासरूट में जाके बात करें, ग्रासरूट में जाके बच्चों को ये समझा सकें कि आपको व्हाट योर एनवायरमेंट डिमांड्स, आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या है, तो मेरे ख्याल से ये, इसके अलावा कुछ फिर आप करने की आवश्यकता भी नहीं है। आप अपने जगह में ठीक है और आपका काम हो जाएगा। उनको नर्चर करना है, उसके बाद और कुछ नहीं। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Dhananjay sir, for your views. And now I would like to invite Shoaib sir to share his insights.
Thanks, Shreya. I think a lot of important things have been already shared. I was thinking, if there was a formula to identify early on who is going to be an entrepreneur, right? I'm sure that would have been exploited by all the major economies of the world, right? Unfortunately, there is none. But I believe जो भी चीजें share की गई हैं, I think it is perhaps about casting the net as wide as one can. And at a foundational level, at a school level, Dhananjay sir shared that some realistic challenges that come up, and it is very contextual. But beyond all of these, how can we still cast that net wide and allow kids to be kids? Right? Deepak ji shared this idea of a calm mind. I think absolutely important for an entrepreneur, and somebody who has been down the entrepreneurial path can vouch to this. Um, and I would also like to extend my previous point around empathy as a skill, enabling failure, right? Having the opportunities and tools and that mahol where kids can do that. So unfortunately, there is no um, neat and clean solution to ensure we make an entrepreneur out of every child, and we don't need to make that. We don't need to turn every child into an entrepreneur, but can we cast the net as wide as we can? I think the effort should be towards in that direction, perhaps.
Thank you, Shoaib sir, for your views, and I thank all of you for sharing your insights on innovation skills. With Pratik sir emphasizing that entrepreneurship cannot be taught in school, and Deepak sir emphasizing on meditation, Dhananjay sir saying that teachers are the foundation for entrepreneurship for students, and Shoaib sir, of course, casting the net system. Now let's now move to the next dimension of entrepreneurship, that is financial literacy. So, my next question for all of you is, which business and financial literacy concepts would have been most valuable for you to learn in school? And at what age should students begin learning about profit, loss, and market dynamics? Um, I would like to invite the first to speak on this.
These somehow we have made entrepreneurship very classroom oriented, these statements. But if you ask a chai wala, no, what is his profit and loss statement? He will just measure it by the number of liters of milk he has used in a day. So it is very and me, especially being having studied marketing and finance from ISB, I understand what is the importance of education and these jargons. It is important. Yes, it is important because you have to manage CAs. And CAs will throw these words to you, so you have to manage them. Yes. But as an entrepreneur, when you start, no, it is more about, again, coming back to the, all the things with Dhananjay ji said. उन्होंने जो बोला empathy, मतलब ग्राउंड की प्रॉब्लम्स को समझना, एम्पैथी, फिर ये जो बेसिक चीजें हैं वो ज्यादा जरूरी है. फाइनेंस, if you are if you are confident and you're confident of your product, you're confident that this will sell, and you have an amazing idea which you have understood after understanding the ground fabric, the fabric of the society. जो सोसाइटी को समझ के आपने एक कॉन्सेप्ट निकाला, एक आइडिया निकाला, और जो आपके पास वो एम्पैथी है टीम बिल्डिंग करने की, आपके पास वो कॉन्फिडेंस है, आपके पास वो सेंटर्डनेस है, इंट्यूशन है. आई टेल यू, फाइनेंस, देयर आर सो मेनी पीपल गिविंग टू फाइनेंस. फाइनेंस रखा हुआ है लोगों के पास, वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, ऐसे हीरे ढूंढ रहे हैं कि किसको दें, किस पे लगाएं. दे आर पीपल वेटिंग. They don't listen to your 10 hours balance sheets. They will just ask two questions, understand your, your gut and your kis mitti ke bane hue, and then they give finance. I will really, it's been 20 years I've been away from MBA, so I'll leave these questions of what kind of thing a person should use in the cost statement, and first in, first out, last in, first out, all these things. I'll leave it to the educators. But I tell you that, the moment you enter a room and people want to speak to you, they don't ask you what MBA you have done and what from where have you studied. They see your confidence, they see your vibrancy, they see your ability to speak. वो सब चीजों पे हम कितना टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं भाई? वो हमारा जो सॉफ्टवेयर पे कितना टाइम स्पेंड किया हमने, कॉन्फिडेंस पे, हमारे प्रेजेंस पे कितना टाइम स्पेंड किया है, वो 50% काम तो उसी पे हो जाता है. धनंजय जी अगर मतलब एग्री करेंगे, कोई कॉन्फिडेंस वो मीट में 50-60% वही काम होता है. अगर आपका फाइनेंस ठीक नहीं है, अगर आपको कुछ नहीं आता, यू कैन हायर पीपल, बट ये चीज कोई हायर नहीं कर सकता. सो आई एम मोर इनटू सॉफ्टवेयर एस्पेक्ट, the softer aspect of your personality. Then other things come. But I will request this question to be spoken to experienced people, educationalists like Dhananjay ji, Shoaib ji, and Pratik for his beautiful ability to integrate something which is not very classroom में experience कैसे लाते हैं. Technology can do that really. So thank you, Shri ji.
दीपक सर सही बात बोल रहे हैं, और वो मेरे एक्सपीरियंस जो मैंने फील किया है एकदम वही पॉइंट को बात रखती है. मैंने कभी भी पैसे के बारे में नहीं सोचा. मैं खाली एक ही चीज बोलता हूँ बच्चों को कि बेटा आपके प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट जितना यूनिक होगा उतना आपके सॉल्यूशन यूनिक होगा, उतने सॉल्यूशन अगर यूनिक होगा वो मार्केट अप्रोच ज़्यादा ईजी हो जाएगा. बिलीव मी, जब हम पहले थे तो हमारे पास यह शॉर्टेज था, मैं जेन्युइन बात बोल रहा हूँ वैसे. लेकिन जब हमारे प्रोडक्ट जो हमारे बच्चे ने बनाना शुरू किया तो लायंस क्लब, रोटरी क्लब जितने हैं सब हमको बोले कि आपको कितना पैसा चाहिए बताइए तो. और वो बच्चों कॉन्फिडेंस देख करके मैंने कहा कि हरीश प्रोजेक्ट नाम का आप सर्च कर इसमें देख लीजिए, उसके क्लास 12 का लड़का है, पैसे की प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, पैसे उसके पास हर जगह से आ गया. खाली एक ही चीज सर ने कहा, कॉन्फिडेंस. अपने प्रोडक्ट को अगर कॉन्फिडेंस अगर उसमें है, तो पैसा इधर उधर से आपको आएगा। और उस सिंपल एमबीए के जितने टर्म्स है, टर्मोलॉजी को मैं नहीं समझता हूँ कि 10वीं के, क्लास 10 के, क्लास 8 के, क्लास 11 के बच्चों को अगर हम बताएं तो और वो उनके लिए फायदेमंद होगा। बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स रखें और आगे बढ़ें, वो ज़्यादा बेटर होगा। और कंसंट्रेट करें कि आपके इनोवेशन कितने स्ट्रांग है और कितना सही। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you so much, Deepak sir and Dhananjay sir, for sharing your insights. Now, I would like to invite Pratik sir and Shoaib sir.
So I think with respect to financial literacy and which concepts can be taught, which is I think the question now. Um, it really depends where you want to start. You could go from like something very basic to something very high level in terms of because Deepak ji is also on the panel. I would like to use the term like Bhautika Vidya. So you can take that from like to the end. But I think what we want to focus on in terms of teaching or cultivating is behavior, financial thinking, like what kind of behavior or attitude enables a person to manage their finances well. And Kautilya explained this beautifully in his works, not just his Arthashastra, but also like in other things that he's propounded. That when you don't have your desires in your control, that person can never be a financially sound person. And that connects back to the idea that we have to meditate in whatever way you want to meditate. I mean, today there are various ways to meditate. There have always been, but yeah, so I think the, uh, an important plug that I want to put into this conversation is the idea that we don't focus on our desires enough. And because we see spiritual concepts and material concepts so separate, we're not able to holistically understand that financial literacy or so many Bhautika Vidya elements are like formed on top of adhyatmic elements. And need not always be seen as religion or God, but the fact that we are ready to explore that part of ourselves. A simple concept is, when smokers try to quit cigarettes, we tell them like delayed gratification. We tell them to delay their gratification, and I want to connect this to blink it, or like now if I want to like have a chocolate, I'm just going to like blink it a chocolate very quickly. That that behavior is not a good financial behavior, because it is because that attitude of the person has now become instant gratification from what you want to like satisfy your desire with. So that is not good. Now, how do you bring that concept into a classroom? I recently started playing, like, I usually play games on like an Xbox or like a PS5 or something. But I recently started playing games on the iPad, and I found this cool game called Turmoil, or Turmoil Plus. And you play Turmoil, and then it's basically an oil selling and oil mining game where you create rigs to pull up oil, and you have to sell it for profit. Now, this this simple game teaches so much about behavior in terms of attitude, and in terms of like financial behavior, I mean. So, because if you can put only X amount of rigs because you have only X amount of capital, and and so on and so forth. So I won't like go very deep into how turmoil is helping, because I if whoever listens to this, they have to be curious enough to like at least access the game somehow, like go play it just once and see that like simple things can really impact financial literacy. I think that approach would be great. um Probably politically incorrect, but I don't think teaching students what's debit, what's credit, is like a great achievement, because today, at least in today's world, access to information is not the same as the previous era. Access to information is there. Um, and now information is also curated. You have AI, so now you're not just googling and having to go through hundreds of results. Your the replies are curated to the point. A child can very easily tell the AI that, hey, I did not understand debit and credit, please help me understand, and with that basic knowledge develop further. So yeah, like so many things are going to become obsolete, and it's a beautifully creative destruction time that we're living through. But yeah, I think that's what I think about financial literacy in classrooms.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your views and the turmoil game my cousin plays. I have seen him play. So I don't know. I will try playing it once. And now I would like to invite Shoaib, sir.
Thank you. Pratik, I'll certainly try out this experience. Thanks for suggesting creative approaches that we as educators could try. I align with everything that's been shared so far. I don't think financial literacy as a technical domain, right, is the biggest problem to solve. However, I feel the relationship with money, how do I as an individual perceive money? What is money to me? Not from a lens of profit loss or technical statements, but purely how do I perceive it? Do I see it as power? Do I see it as tool? How have I seen my parents dealing with money? So I think that relationship with money is something that could be explored in a safe environment. So a few examples would be, I'm a great believer of seed grants, catalytic grants, micro grants, innovation awards. These are usually small amounts that you would give away to innovators, right? And especially innovators who found a problem and need some basic resources to start off with. There is a very old scheme run by the Government of India, Department of Science, and some of us would know it. It's called Inspire Manak. So any student that has an idea can submit it, and kids can get up to 10,000 rupees as an innovation grant, which is a lot of money, uh, right? Now, um, how is it that we enable kids to learn through that experience is something that the mahol around them, right? The teachers, the parents, the educators could support with. So if instead of giving it to one child, what if you gave a team of 5 students 5,000 rupees, right? And you ask them to figure out what is it that you can do with this money, where would it get you, how would you spend it? So I think experiences like that where kids explore the value of money or what is the relationship that gets established with money, perhaps could play a role.
And I would like to add one more thing, two examples which really came to my mind because US kids, see, knowledge will not. It's not. It's not just in classroom. Every part there is knowledge in every walk of life. Two examples I will give you. I was having tea at a this shop in Delhi, and I saw him selling like tea was like five people making tea and 100 cups going every minute. Something came to my mind that how does he does his supply chain management and how does he मतलब आई आस्क्ड हिम भैया आपको पता कैसे चलता है कि आपने कितने कप बनाए और कितना प्रॉफिट किया कितने कप बनाए कितना प्रॉफिट हुआ उसके साथ so what he said because like 100 cups were going in 5 minutes and वो सारे प्लास्टिक के क्लब जो मिला उसमें दे रहा है तो he said very simple he said जितना दूध मैं दिन का यूज करता हूँ ना मुझे उसमें पता चल जाता है कि कितना कप बनाया मैंने क्योंकि he has a formula that for 5 cups of tea which his pot can make he uses 20% milk 30% water and that much tea so he has a formula now no one taught him on supply chain management But 10,000 cups a day he's selling, and he knows how many cups he has made just because he has created his own formula. No. So that's one example. Second example, I learned from my mother. I learned such a deep thing about team building. I'm handling two trusts, the Rural Development Program Trust of Art of Living, now the Vedic Dharm Sansthan, in which all the Gurukuls and all the Goshalas come. There are, we are talking about at least 25, 30,000 volunteers, full-time people working. I had bought nice coconut sugar for my mother, and there was an empty box kept. So I said, you know what, whatever empty box you just take, cut it and fill it. My mother said, no, in that box only tea goes. That is empty, so I know I have to buy tea. That was such a deep learning for me. She says in that box is tea, so I know it is empty, I have to buy it. You will put something else in it and then I'll forget that box is full, then I don't know where to keep tea, so please don't do that. This is what team building I understood. If there is a team, I don't have a social media expert. I don't have a good expert, not to my caliber. I will say to someone who is doing production, offense, I say, yaar, tu mera social media bhi dekh lena. So what I'm doing in that box of tea, I'm putting something else, and then I'm thinking I have a social media expert. And after 3 months, an important promotion of mine does not happen, and only 800 people come for a course, and I know my social media is screwed. So I realized that example that if there is something which is not there, keep it empty. You have to fill it with the right person. Don't compromise it with anything. So, your mother teaches something, a tea person teaches something. Don't think that only your, books and educational people will teach. Teaching is in every walk of life, everywhere you go. That happens when you have a stress and calm mind.
Thank you, sir, for giving those two examples. And thank you all for giving your insights. That was very enlightening, with Deepak sir and Dhananjay sir emphasizing on empathy and confidence as the foundation rather than learning all those debit and credit things. And then Pratik sir about talking about Bhautik Vidya, and Shoaib sir explaining the relationship with money. Now, the question which is in the chat box as posed by Anushka just before this second question, I would like all of you to please take a look at it. What methodology should be followed to train teachers about entrepreneurship? And what specific training do you need to effectively teach entrepreneur attitudes, thinking skills, and business literacy? So, I will love if all of you can speak on this question. Um, Starting off with Deepak sir.
Can you repeat the question, Shri?
Yes, sure. It's in the comment box too. You can read it. I'll repeat it again. What methodology should be followed to train teachers about entrepreneurship? And what specific training do you need to effectively teach entrepreneur attitudes, like thinking skills and business literacy? And what training format works best for you?
See, I think teachers should already have experience of entrepreneurship. That's the first thing I feel. And very good example is China, the way China does it. In China, if you go to even an ITI, the teacher is a facilitator. The real entrepreneurship is being taught by the industry. So the industry gives job work to a mason, says that this model I have got from India and I want to make it in China, you make it. And in that CNC training program, they make this model. And the teacher is a facilitator. And entrepreneurs, which are businessmen and the beneficiary, he integrates both. and then the entrepreneur gives money and hires the person who has done that job. So I feel teachers, if they don't have an entrepreneurship experience, they are perfect facilitators. I feel. I might be absolutely wrong because I don't have teaching experience in entrepreneurship, but as a good facilitator, and let entrepreneurs do their work on identifying the best people, hiring them, like that is what I feel. But I think Dhananjay ji would be able to really best experience, हम सब में से सबसे ज्यादा experience उन्हीं का है teaching में.
अह, देखिए, मैं जहाँ तक समझता हूँ कि आज के समय में जो सी ग्रेड सिटीज हैं, डी ग्रेड सिटीज हैं, ये इसको वर्क करेगा। अगर हम कुटीर उद्योग, लघु उद्योग, जो छोटे छोटे पॉकेट्स हैं, अगर इसमें अगर हम एक टीचर्स को एक एक्सपीरियंसेस क्लासेस के रूप में बात करें और उनको ले जाकर के उसका अनुभव दिखाएं, तो ये ज़्यादा वर्क करेगा। दूसरा चीज, अगर हम एक विद्यालय को अगर एनरिच कर दें कि आप एक कोई आप अपने लोकल मार्केट्स, क्योंकि अगर हम मैं बिलासपुर में हूँ, छत्तीसगढ़ में हूँ, तो मैं अगर मुंबई की बात करूँगा तो ये वर्क नहीं करेगा, है ना। मैं बिलासपुर हूँ तो बिलासपुर के सिनेरियो की बात करनी चाहिए। तो बिलासपुर के जो लघु उद्योग हैं, बिलासपुर के जो कुटीर उद्योग हैं, वहां पर वहां ले जाकर का उनके संबंध में एक कोर्स डिजाइन करके अगर हम उन टीचर्स को बात करें तो ये रियली बेनिफिट करेगा सोसाइटी को। बड़ी बातें करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, अपने समाज की ही बात करें। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Pratik sir and Shoaib sir.
Hi. So, like I said earlier, I think I'll maintain that one position, which is also one thing that Shoaib had said earlier is that we don't have to make everybody entrepreneurs really. So, but entrepreneurial thinking is a good approach, especially for teachers. So, before I think we ask this question, we have to really understand the teacher's life and the teacher's life. A, a majority of teachers are female, at least at the school level. And whether we like it or not, they are at the center of managing the family. And for a teacher, it's not easy. They're always pressed for time. So we can't really keep burdening them with by teaching them more things. We have to like let them breathe also a little. And so teaching them entrepreneurship, I don't know, but teaching them entrepreneurial mindsets, uh, the block, like even if you teach somebody entrepreneurial mindset, the block over there is time. Because for any teacher to really like research their subject better and do innovative things in a classroom, you need time. Because knowledge is Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, things like that. So they have to not just like read, they also have to then sit, reflect, churn, think ki, how will I make this concept more lively in a classroom? How will I do that? So that entrepreneurial mindset of going beyond something and then like doing it, that's in an already existing profession and with your lifestyle and with your responsibilities, it's not easy. Even if you had that mindset, you're pressed for time because your number one priority as a teacher is also your children. If you're married, you have children, they have needs, you have to like be with them, and family takes precedence. It is the truth, and it should in a society. So, I mean, um, if you're teaching somebody entrepreneurial mindset and if they're absorbing it, then the school, if it's a government school, should be a government school because our conversation is around that. Then the government school first should have the entrepreneurial mindset and empathy to think about the teacher, that I have not given my teachers the time only to be amazing. Then how can I expect them to be entrepreneurial? But I, as the principal, I, as the institution head, I am going to be un-entrepreneurial and bureaucratic because schools are run like that. So we are always targeting and vilifying teachers, but the management is also very ऐसे मतलब bureaucratic. It's run like that. Uh, Probably for their own needs, but it maybe helps in certain ways because of course you have some accountability and everything. But still, so entrepreneurial mindset has to be given also to the management so that the teachers have the time to be innovative and amazing. Then probably it works. Coming to the how is there are so many ways to explore. Like today, there is no dearth of creativity. We can when we take workshops, don't do a 1 day workshop, do a 3 day something, let it go more deep. I've attended certain programs at AOL. They do a brilliant job at a lot of things. So, give them problem statements, let them solve something, etc., etc. Gamify their workshops also. That kind of stuff can still probably help them focus on problem solving, create a lot of simulations. I think so far in this conversation, I've not brought it up, but one thing that uh, in India we can cultivate, which the West has already cultivated, also probably from a more ancient India, is the idea of simulating experiences. We don't simulate things enough. We try to teach. Uh, there's so many thinkers, they've always said that children are not, buckets to be filled or utensils to be filled, but lamps to be lit. So, going by that thought, simulations can light that lamp instead of constantly teaching. Bring more agency into the system. Let the teacher have more agency. Agency is important. At Blue Whistle, when we created our own pedagogy, agency is one of our founding, fundamental pillars that guide our, you know, that guide our development of modules and etc. etc. So bring agency, create simulations. That way we can bring entrepreneurial mindset to teachers, but it's not going to be enough unless we percolate it upwards. With that, I will stop.
देखिए
Thank you.
सर, मैं एक बात और बोलता हूँ कि जहाँ तक टाइम लिमिट की बात है, आप एक काम कीजिए। कोई भी आते हैं व्यक्ति, वो टीचर्स के इंस्पेक्शन में आते हैं। मेरे को इंस्पेक्शन शब्द से बहुत चिढ़ है। आप तो जिस दिन टीचर को ये समझ में आ जाएगा कि ये बंदा आया है मेरे हेल्प करने के लिए, मेरे कमजोरियों को निदान करने के लिए, आपकी पूरी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगा। टाइम कोई लिमिट नहीं है, आप उसको पैशन बनाने के लिए कीजिए, खत्म हो जाएगा। यहाँ पर कोई भी आता है वो टीचर्स की कमी निकालने के लिए। मैं क्यों कमी, वाई द वर्ड इंस्पेक्शन इज यूज्ड, मेरा क्वेश्चन यही है। आप जिस दिन मेरे को ये लगे थे कि शोएब सर आए हैं, दीपक सर आए हैं, मेरे हेल्प करने का आए हैं, मेरे को सिखाने के लिए आए हैं, बहुत सारी चीज ठीक हो जाएंगी, किसी को बोलना नहीं पड़ेगा। आप एक टीचर पर बिलीव तो कीजिए, उसकी एबिलिटी पर तो बिलीव कीजिए। जिस दिन आप उसके एबिलिटी पर बिलीव करेंगे, एक धनंजय नहीं 100 धनंजय पैदा होंगे। यहाँ पर आते हैं, ये कमी है, वो कमी है। एक रिसेंट एग्जांपल देता हूँ। मैं अपने लैब में सुबह 8 बजे से लेकर रात को 11 साढ़े 11 बजे बच्चों के साथ काम करता रहता हूँ। एक अधिकारी जो बहुत बड़े नाम नहीं बताऊंगा, वो आए, वो ये काम नहीं देखे कि बच्चे के साथ 4 से 5 पेटेंट्स हैं, वो बच्चे मार्केट में आ रहे हैं, वो ये आकर के सब बच्चों को चलाना शुरू किए, यहाँ जाला क्यों लगा हुआ, यहाँ पर मकड़ी क्यों है, आपको कमी निकालना है, इस कारण कमी निकाला जाए, इस सब की ये है। और इंस्पेक्शन सब जो स्कूल लेवल में, वो टोटली वाइंड अप होना चाहिए, एलिमिनेट होना चाहिए। तब हम बहुत कुछ करेंगे। और अगर टीचर्स को पैशन बना दिए, टाइम को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights. And before moving to Shoaib, sir, I would like Deepak sir has some works to do and he have to leave right now. Thank you so much, sir, for joining, and we are really grateful.
Thank you, everyone. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. And Art of Living as an organization and me personally, always there for any support in whatever ways. I have seen individuals who didn't have money for even their 2 months training program, short term training programs. सोलर का एक बहुत अच्छा किस्सा है कि वो उसके पास अपना 4,000 रुपये देने को नहीं था. We supported him. And in 3 years, his turnover was 1.52 CR. Doing solar installations in Maharashtra, solar pump installations. And today, sir, turnover is 10 CR. When he first came to meet me, he came in a BMW. I said, पागल है तू, क्यों इससे खर्च किया BMW में? तू अपना बिजनेस में लगा. बोला, no, भैया, I want my youth to know that if I can do it, then anyone can. So entrepreneurship in today's world, where Swiggy comes in 10 minutes and Blinkit comes in 5 minutes, entrepreneurship is the way. It is the only way to create a rising India. And, as Art of Living, we are always available for this to promote any kind of entrepreneurship. हमारे आश्रम में आके आप स्टॉल लगाओ, जो कुछ भी करना है, you have a good product. We have a platform. We will give. Sri Sri University has a very big entrepreneurship incubation center. All kind of support will be provided. And, personally, I'm also anytime available. Jai Gurudev. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namah. Namaste.
Thank you
Pranam.
so
Thank
much,
you.
sir, for being here. And
Thank you.
we loved all your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Shoaib, sir.
Thanks, Shri. So let me try and answer this question from two lenses. One is internally as an organization, how do we approach uh, training? Though we don't like that word, we have tried to move away from it. And the second point around how do we work with system teachers like Dhananjay sir and likes of him. Because our mission is to teach problem solving to students. Um, we, after 8-9 years of learning from the government school ecosystem, we only have one principle at PiJam, or value, if you may call it. We call it problem solving with self. For us to be able to teach problem solving, we need to be able to practice it with ourselves first. And I think that has really transformed a lot of how we look at training or capacity, right? There is so much information content. Teachers are just stormed with the number of trainings, and I'm sure Dhananjay ji can share kitne trainings hote hain, right, in a calendar year. So for us internally, how do we enable our trainers to start with identifying problems with themselves, right? It has a ripple effect. Once I do that individually, I will do it around with people around me. When we work with um, teachers from the government school ecosystem and we work at scale with a lot of teachers, what we have realized is whenever you try and dump information, right? Whenever you try and teach a new fancy technique or a framework, the lifetime is 4 to 6 hours of that training, or maybe one additional day. People will respond on WhatsApp groups, etc., and then it dissipates. So that really doesn't work. What really works is solving problems for the teachers that you're working with, because their context is not simple, right? For a teacher to be able to bring that sort of a mahol and mindset for kids to experiment, identify problems, they need to do that themselves. For them to be able to do it themselves, the system around them needs to allow them to do that, which unfortunately is not the case, right? So how can we as an organization come and relieve some of that burden by saying that, hey, we are co-creators here, right? What is it that we can do alongside you? So every batch of teachers that we work with, right? There is a community of teachers that we call model teachers. These are teachers who have the interest, agency, and want to do more. So what we try and do is within that teacher community, we will pair them with somebody who's already done that. Let's say Dhananjay sir already apne ATL lab mein, he's doing so many things, right? We will pair him with a young and upcoming teacher, right? Because peer learning works best rather than giving any sort of gyan. That helps a lot. How can you solve for some blockades, right? They may need some resources. They may need, maybe there is a specific technical skill. Let's say किसी बच्चे का कुछ idea है और उसको prototype करना है, right? The school may not have the wherewithal to prototype or simulate. How can we come in and solve for that? So just walking alongside with the teacher, number two. Third, I think is also incentivization. And I don't mean monetary incentivization. I mean recognition, identity, right? Most spaces, and one of the reasons I really like this space was because we have a teacher, we have a student, right? We have an entrepreneur. I think that's the way forward, right? If you want to create genuinely generate knowledge and experience, a lot of the platforms and spaces we have need to now start having teachers and students. And these need to be, there need to be as many stages, as many platforms, because it honestly may not be the most aspirational thing to do. And yet we as a country want to aspire so much, right? We want entrepreneurs to come out of it. But the people on ground that are really at the helm of affairs, we need to make it aspirational for them. So we try and do that in our little ways, wherever there is a showcase, wherever there is a platform, right? And let's say the district commissioner is coming, we will ensure the teacher is on the stage, right? Or the teachers are on the stage. That has a subtle ripple effect. And there are enough teachers like Dhananjay sir. We just need to ensure we support them, so that they can inspire the next sort of generation of entrepreneurs, especially from the government school ecosystem. Thanks.
Thank you, Shoaib sir, and I thank every speaker for speaking on these questions, and that was very enlightening to hear. Now, moving ahead, let's reflect on the values that guide entrepreneurship, just like spoken earlier: ethics, responsibility, and sustainability. So, our next question is: how important are ethics, social responsibility, and sustainability in your business, and how can schools effectively instill these values in young entrepreneurs? Maybe we
Can
can
I
start with
can I go first on this?
sure.
Thank you. So I think so. The reason I wanted to sort of go first is, I might have to leave, but before that, there's one thing that we recently did. So we printed all our books that go out to schools, and this time we decided to make our books free from lamination. So the books that Blue Whistle printed don't have a layer of plastic over them. They were just there's a different paper. It's called natural evolution paper, and it has a coating on it. So and it came out very beautiful. It had a very rustic feel to it. Printed very well. Looks it has a great texture also, but slightly expensive. We're a for-profit company. We're able to bear those expenses and still do a good job. Maybe more people cannot. But I just want to sort of bring look to sort of point out to that, when you feel empathetic कि हाँ मतलब I'm doing something and because of my action something may be happening, maybe let me try to navigate it, then it's a small thing but it creates a big impact. If you're publishing books, try to make it lamination free. um you know so that could be one thing. Now that is an example. A deeper thought, I think it's deeper. A thought that I want to share is, before we start thinking about how to be sustainable, we really have to understand what sustainability is, because in today's world, it's not easy to understand sustainability. A lot of spaces, a lot of conversations are very agenda driven, are very politically charged. Not a bad thing, but still something that we need to very सतर्क रहना जरूरी है. Like if you have to say it in Hindi, you have to be very alert and aware that अगर कोई हमें sustainability बता रहा है, then it could just be part of some propaganda and it may not be true. So on this, I like to go back to civilizational roots where uh, Shastras say that there are among the five or six debts that every human being has. One of the debt is Bhuta Rina. What is Bhuta Rina? Bhuta is basically elements, not ghosts, elements. And so every individual is indebted to the environment. So Shastras recognize that we have a debt towards the environment. So sustainability in terms of environment has to be informed by that and not necessarily by statistics always. Because if you simply do your duty of fulfilling that obligation that I have a debt to the environment, the statistics automatically become better. That is one. Second is sustainability in other ways. You could be sustainable in being an efficient organization. You could be sustainable in being a business that sustains its profits very well. So sustainability is also a way of thinking. Like, you desire sustainability. You desire to sustain for a long time, which means that you don't build things that last very uh, temporary. So I'll drop a documentary recommendation here. It's called The Light Bulb Conspiracy. It's a free documentary available on YouTube, and it's only 1 hour long, 1 hour, 10 minutes maybe. Beautiful documentary. I think everybody will enjoy watching it. And so, it talks about how sustainability in thinking automatically impacts environmental sustainability also. For example, if my desire is to build things for them to last, like I as a product developer will design products that are built to last, not built to fail. Because building to fail is important for the company to profit. क्योंकि only अगर आपका पंखा फैन खराब होगा तो मैं आपको एक नया पंखा फैन बेच सकूंगा. I can sell to you a new fan. So designers should not design things to fail. They should design things to last. But where should that desire come from? What desire overpowers your greed to profit and create a truly sustainable product? I think that desire can be different. People can have different motivations to each their own, whatever floats their boat. For me, it is the fact that I have a debt to the environment, and which is why I build things so that they last. And that thinking is not only impacting the environment positively, it's also impacting my business, it's also impacting my relationships, it's also impacting how I interact with the society and things like that. So I think that is what I think when I hear sustainability as a term and how educationists should approach it. Probably with that approach, we can build many interesting pedagogies. We can build many, what are these things called? TLMs, teaching learning material that, emphasize this kind of thinking. So, because we teach everything in silos, but we can start interconnecting them. Sustainability in relationships. You found a new girlfriend or boyfriend in the school, and how do you really sustain that relationship? What a topic. So, things like that. So, sustainability has to be taught like that or explored like that. Not taught, but explored. Like Shoaib ji said about, peer learning. Let's see, explore it together. And I think Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they love it. Every human being desires it. But it's just that sustainability sometimes doesn't bring you big profits. But if you're a true capitalist or a true free market supporting person, if you're somebody who really understands innovation and creativity, you can profit by being a sustainable person. The Japanese have done it, the Germans have done it. So why not? With that, I think I'll stop.
Thank you, sir, for sharing insights. And now I would like to invite Dhananjay, sir.
जहां तक सस्टेनेबिलिटी बात है, मैं एक ही जानता हूं, अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट आपको सोसाइटी बेच रहा है, आपका प्रोडक्ट आपको सोसाइटी बेच रहा है, तो निश्चित है वो आगे जाएगा. और दूसरी, अगर आप कोई सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात करते हैं तो मैं उसको दो टर्म्स में देखता हूँ. एक टर्म्स है कि वो आपके लिए लास्ट कितना कर रहा है, और दूसरा उसमें आपके फ्यूचर को ले जाने के लिए कितनी क्षमता है, उसमें कितने आप मॉडिफिकेशन कर सकते हैं. अगर ये 2 पॉइंट्स अगर हम आगे बढ़ें तो ज़्यादा बेटर होगा। एक और मैं एग्जांपल लेता हूँ, जैसे अगर मैं बोलूँ ए प्लस बी होल स्क्वायर, टीएलएम की बात करते हैं, ए प्लस बी होल स्क्वायर की बात करते हैं। अगर बच्चे मेरे कॉन्सेप्ट्स को क्लैरिटी के साथ समझ रहे हैं तो मेरा कोई जरूरत नहीं है कि उसको हम एक अलग से कोई प्रैक्टिकलिटी को ले करके या मटेरियलिस्टिक चीज को ले करके उसको कॉम्प्लिकेटेड करके उसका सॉल्यूशन निकाले, है ना। कई चीज ऐसा होता है, जैसे मैं अभी स्टैटिस्टिक्स पढ़ाते हैं, डायनेमिक्स पढ़ाते हैं, तो ऐसे सब्जेक्ट्स के जो कॉन्सेप्चुअल थिंकिंग है उसको कॉम्प्लिकेटेड करके अंत में हम उसका रिजल्ट लाना, मैं नहीं समझता हूँ कि ये अच्छी मतलब वर्क करेगा। तो सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात है कि आपके प्रोडक्ट्स कितने इजी हैं, कितने सोसाइटी बेस्ड हैं, और कितने उसमें फ्यूचर एमेंडमेंट्स की कैपेसिटी है, कैपेबिलिटीज, और कुछ नहीं। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir, for sharing your points. Now I would like to invite Shoaib, sir.
Thanks, Shri. Already some really, really good points shared. My fundamental belief and position is कि ये एक non-negotiable है, right? Whenever, if at all, we talk of entrepreneurship or enabling entrepreneurship in younger learners or the youth. Um, while it is a bigger topic, right? What kind of organizations should one set up? कैसे thrive करें? वो I think it is beyond the theme of this space, right? But when we look at it from a lens of बच्चों के लिए, right? For budding entrepreneurs, वो ecosystem कैसा है? We perhaps did need a lot of big companies to flourish better, right? That has been the trend. But has that solved for all the problems of the country? It hasn't, right? So हम किस किस्म की प्रॉब्लम्स देखते हैं, हम किस किस्म की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना चाह रहे हैं, राइट? आई थिंक इट्स फाइनली टाइम टू सॉल्व फॉर हाइपर लोकल प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट? इट्स फाइनली टाइम टू सॉल्व फॉर मार्केट्स जो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, जहाँ पे आपके मार्जिन निकालना बहुत ट्रिकी है, राइट? बट इम्पॉसिबल नहीं है. देर आर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस दैट हैव डन इट, राइट? How did Geo do it? I think sometimes it doesn't get credit for what it actually did. It is phenomenal what they did. But of course, it did come from a legacy. It did have the resources that it needed. So I believe that is one thing that we should support our young learners. Jis jo bhi problem, right, impacts an individual, right, impacts your community, is a problem worth solving. Usse paisa bane na bane is a different thing altogether, because entrepreneurship, for sure, finance and money is a big part of it, right? But what will stay with you for the longer run is not money. Money will come and go, right? It is that ability of observation, finding problems, wo value kahan se milta hai, kahan se nahi milta hai. I think that is something where we need to um, lay more emphasis on. And start शुरुआत में you do need attractive big things, ताकि conversation उस direction में चली जाए. But genuinely, comprehensively, अगर if we want this to flourish, we will need 1,000 entrepreneurs in every district, right, every year. तभी we will truly flourish as a country. So I think वो I unfortunately don't have the solution to that, but I think it is possible if we and I'm certain वो shift होगा. It is already showing a trend in that direction. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Shoaib sir, for your views. And thank you to our speakers for sharing such valuable insights. Your journeys remind us that entrepreneurship is in public schools is not merely just about enterprises, but it's also about nurturing courage, creativity, and compassion in every child. In Deepak sir's word, AI, that is absolute intelligence. Now, I would invite my co moderator, Rishika, to give the vote of thanks.
This session was truly interesting and realistic. the futuristic vision and depth in Pratik sir's speech, the humility and grounding wisdom in Dhananjay sir's words, and experimental and practical learnings found in Shoaib sir's thoughts truly set the direction of the panel in the right direction. We are immensely grateful to have each one of you with us and to take out time from your busy schedules and being so authentic and thoughtful throughout the session. And with that, I would also like to thank our participants, students, educators, and fellow practitioners whose energy and reflections have brought this dialogue to life. The Gullak Dialogue is more than an event, it is a testimony to believe that every child carries a spark of change. Today's session has shown us how that spark can nurture into the flame that lights classrooms, communities, and futures. On the behalf of organizing team, I once again thank you everyone who made this session possible. With gratitude in our hearts and hope in our minds, we conclude this practitioner panel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Great being
Thank you
here.
so much.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you so much for joining here.